Hello everyone. Welcome to Food Tech Network. If you haven't subscribed our YouTube channel yet, then subscribe it now and don't forget to click on the bell icon. For regular updates, visit our website www.foodtechnetwork.in and join our groups. We share jobs, webinars, quizzes, trainings, news on daily basis. We never charge any consultancy fee for jobs. So our today's lecture will be on proteins. So proteins are the third class of major nutrients and there are thousands of proteins found in nature which vary in their composition as well as size. Okay. So all the proteins contain the elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. So these are the basic contents of elements. Okay, so these are the basic elements that are found in every protein. The elements are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Okay, so proteins are made up of very smaller compounds known as amino acids. Okay, so each gram of protein supplies 4 kilocalories of energy to our body. Okay, so proteins are essential for tissue building and maintaining an equilibrium. So protein in the diet should be derived from different sources and provide at least 10 to 12% of our energy, and such levels would meet the normal protein requirement of all age group. Okay, so the main thing is like proteins are made up of hundreds or thousands of smaller units called amino acids, and there are mainly 20 different types of amino acids and that can be combined to make a protein. So different proteins can be made, or there are different proteins with different amino acid sequences. Okay, so the sequence of amino acid determines the structure of protein. Okay, next. Next is the structure of protein. Okay, so protein is a three-dimensional arrangement of atom in an amino acid chain. Okay, so protein is a three-dimensional arrangement of atoms in an amino acid chain molecule. So proteins are the polymers, specifically polypeptides, formed from the sequence of amino acids. Okay, so amino acids are the monomers and the proteins are the polymers. Okay, so polymers formed by amino acids undergoing condensation reactions. Okay, so protein structure ranges in size from 10 to several thousand amino acids. So by physical size, proteins are classified as nanoparticles between 1 to 100 nanometer. You should write it, 1 to 100 nanometer. Okay, so very large protein complexes can be formed from protein subunit. For example, like many thousands of actin molecules assemble in a microfilament. Okay, so protein usually undergoes reversible structural changes in performing its biological function. So the alternative structures of the same proteins are referred to as different conformations, and the transitions between them are called conformational changes. So this is not like very important, but now I am going to tell you the most important thing, that is the classification of proteins upon on the basis of their structure. Okay, so proteins are being classified in four parts upon their structure, like primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure and quaternary structure. Okay, so let us focus on primary structure. Okay, so primary structure of a protein refers to the sequence of amino acid in a polypeptide chain. Okay, so the primary structure is held together by polypeptide bond that are made during the process of protein biosynthesis. Okay, so the ends of the two polypeptide chains are referred to as carboxyl terminus and amino terminus. Okay, so based on the nature of the free group on each extremity. So the primary structure of a protein is determined by a gene corresponding of a protein. So a specific sequence of nucleotides in DNA is transcribed into mRNA. Okay, so which is read by ribosomes, and the process is called translation. Okay, so these are no complex things. The main thing we have to focus on is like the primary structure is a linear chain of amino acids. Okay, so the amino acids are being joined together by the polypeptide. Okay, so by the peptide bond. Okay, so like the polypeptides, the amino acids are being arranged in an linear form, like this. Like this in a chain form. Okay, so primary structure is like a chain form. Okay, so next is secondary structure. So secondary structure refers to highly regular local substructure on the actual polypeptide backbone chain. Okay, so the two main types of secondary structures are alpha helix and beta stranded or beta sheets. Okay, so these secondary structures are being defined by the patterns of hydrogen bond between the main chain peptide. Okay, so they have regular geometry being constrained to specific values of dihedral angles. Okay, so the alpha helix and beta sheet represent a way of saturating all the hydrogen bond donors and acceptors in the peptide backbone. So the secondary structure, in if I will summarize this all, so the secondary structure contain regions of amino acid chain that are stabilized by hydrogen bond from the polypeptide backbone. So these hydrogen bonds create alpha helix and beta pleated sheets of the secondary structure. So these are the short notes. You can screenshot it. It will be very helpful for you for MCQ examinations and all. Okay, it will be helpful for food safety examiner exam or okay, food safety officer exam, food analyst and all. So next is three dimensional. Okay, so primary structure is very primary and it is like linear chain. Secondary structure contain alpha and beta sheets and it is like, no, it is stabilized by hydrogen bond. Then tertiary structure. Okay, so tertiary structure refers to a three-dimensional structure. It is primary, then it is more complex, then it is complex, and it is one of the most complex. Okay, so tertiary structure refers to the three-dimensional structure created by a single protein molecule. Okay, so it may include one or several domains. So alpha helixes and beta pleated sheets are folded in a compact globular structure. Okay, so the foldings is driven by non-specific hydrophobic interaction and the burial of hydrophobic residue of water. Okay, so the summary of this is like its tertiary structure is determined by the interaction of side chains from a polypeptide backbone. So the side chain interaction is it. Okay, next is quaternary structure. Quaternary structure is the most complex structure of protein. So quaternary structure is this three-dimensional structure consisting of the aggregation of two or more individual polypeptide chains. Okay, so polypeptide chains that operate as a single functional unit. Okay, so the resulting multimer is stabilized by the same non-covalent interaction and disulfide bonds as in tertiary structure. Okay, so the summary of this is the quaternary structure also influences the three-dimensional shape of the protein and is formed through the side chain interaction between two or more polypeptides. Okay, so it is formed by the side chain interaction of two or more polypeptides. So each protein at least contains a primary, secondary and tertiary structure. Only some proteins are that much complex that it contains quaternary structure. That's it, you can screenshot it. Let me remove all this, then you can easily can have screenshot of this and it will be easier for you to understand all these things. We will also discuss these in types and classification of proteins. This is the important part of proteins. So next is okay. So next is like there are about 20 different amino acids that I have told you in the first slide. Okay, so there are 20 different amino acids. So what all is written here, like the amino acids are being is like the protein structure is like a beads on string structure. Okay, so like amino acids are being arranged with peptide bond and they are forming an protein. Okay, so there are hundreds of amino acids that are that contributes to a protein formation. Okay, and there are 20 different amino acids, and by changing the sequence of amino acid we can have a new protein with us. So proteins of similar function as usually have somewhat similar amino acid composition also. And what is written here, let us read. A protein molecule is very large compared with molecule of sugar or salt and consists of many amino acids joined together to form long chains such as beads are arranged on a string. Okay, so you can see the structure also, like these are beads and these are being arranged on a string. So there are many amino acids and many peptide bonds are there, that the string is like peptide bond and the amino acids are referred here as beads. Okay, so proteins of similar function have similar amino acid composition and sequence. So although it is not yet possible to explain all the functions of a protein from its amino acid sequence, established correlation between structure and function can be attributed to the properties of amino acid that compose protein. Okay. Now general structure of proteins and properties of proteins. Okay. So as we all know, as I have told you many times in the same lecture also, amino acid composition of protein. So the proteins are being made from amino acid and peptide bond. Okay, so so the amino acid that contributes to the protein formation is known as alpha amino acid. It is very important, like you should mark it for MCQ exam. You should screenshot it. Okay. So the the amino acid contributed to protein formation is alpha amino acid. Okay. So why it is called as alpha amino acid? Why it is not called as beta amino acid? Okay. So it is a general question that arises in everybody's mind. Why it is known as alpha amino acid? Okay. So the main reason for what it is called as alpha amino acid is that the alpha carbon atom, this is the structure. Okay, this is the structure. Okay, so the alpha carbon atom in a molecule carries an amino group and a alpha carbon atom that also carries a carboxyl group. So the alpha carbon atom is responsible for carrying amino group as well as carboxyl group. That is why it is known as alpha amino acid. Okay, so it is also written here, you can screenshot it. It is very important. Let me clear this. You can screenshot this, then we will read this. Okay, so the common property of all protein is that they consist of long chain of alpha amino acids. So the general structure of alpha amino acid is shown in, okay, so the structure of amino acid, alpha amino acid is showed here. Okay, so the alpha amino acids are so called, the so called, okay, so alpha amino acids are so called and they are called as alpha amino acid because the alpha carbon atom in molecule carries amino group as well as carboxyl group. Amino group is this is the amino group and this is the carboxyl group. Okay, so the alpha carbon, this is the alpha carbon, it contains both. Okay, next is, yes, so you know, in acidic solution, okay, so in acidic solution this COO group combines with hydrogen ion and will be converted to COOH, okay, in acidic solution. So the pH of acidic solution is like 0 to 4 or 5. Okay, so approximately at 0 to 4 or 5 pH, the COO group combines with this H, okay, this hydrogen ion, to form COOH. It will release a hydrogen ion and this COO will combine with it to form COOH. Okay, so this is the condition of acidic medium. Then in basic medium is like from 9 to 14. Okay, so in 9 to 14 this, okay, so the ammonium group losses an hydrogen ion and will become NH2. The ammonium group will be converted into amino group. Okay, so in acidic there will be COOH formation, and in basic there will be amino group formation. Okay, so in neutral conditions there will be no change. Okay, so it is also written here in the first point, it is being referred like in acidic solution when the pH is less than 4, the COO group combined with the hydrogen ion H positive, okay, and are thus converted into uncharged form, that is COOH. And in alkaline solution, that is basic medium at pH above 9, the ammonium group, okay, so the ammonium group NH3 positive losses in hydrogen ion and are converted into amino acid group, okay, amino group. And in medium pH, when the pH ranges from 4 to 8, amino acid carry both a positive and a negative charge and therefore do not migrate in an electric field. Okay, so such structures have been designated as dipolar ions or Zwitter ions. Okay, have you understood the all three conditions, like in acidic and in alkaline and in pH range between 4 to 8? Okay, so although more than 100 amino acid occur in nature, particularly in plants, only 20 types of amino acids are found in proteins. I have told you that there are 20 different types of amino acid that contributes to protein formation, and the change in sequence of amino acid changes the protein sequence. Okay, so in protein molecules, the alpha amino acid are linked to each other by peptide bonds between the amino group of one amino acid and the carboxyl group of its neighbor. Next is structure of protein. Okay, so I have told you all the four structures, that is primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. Okay, so in primary structure, so the covalent linkage of the protein is there. Okay, so primary is just a linear structure. It is one of the most simple structure of amino acid. You can see in this image, it is just a linear structure with covalent linkage of proteins. Okay, next is secondary. So there are like 2 or 3 linear peptide chains formed either by alpha helical structure or beta plated sheets. Okay, it may be helical or it may be in a sheath form. Okay, so helical is like this and sheet is like this. Okay, it can be anything or of any type. Next is tertiary. So the tertiary arrangement and interconnection of protein. It is the arrangement and interconnection of protein into specific loops and bands from the tertiary structure. So this structure contains hydrogen, ionic and disulfide bonds. So it is like complex than secondary. Tertiary is complex than secondary. Okay. And quaternary, the structure of protein contain more than one peptide chain. There are 2 or 4 or 5 peptide chains. Okay, so quaternary structure is one of the most complex structures of protein. Next is classification of proteins. So classification of protein is done on the basis of following. First is shape, second is constitution, and third is nature of molecules. So first is on the basis of shape. Okay, so let us start with fibrous protein or scleroprotein. Okay, so fibrous proteins are made up of polypeptide chains that are elongated and fibrous in nature or have sheet-like structure. Okay, so these fibers and sheet are mechanically strong and are water insoluble. Okay, so the most common example of fibrous protein are hair. Okay, our hair is a kind of fibrous protein. So let us relate everything to fibrous. Okay, hair. Okay, let us relate everything to hair. So first point I have told you is fibrous protein are in linear shape. Okay, So not hair fibrous protein. The example of fibrous protein is keratin, but yeah, our hair is keratin is responsible for our hair. So let me give you the example of hair. Okay. So like I have told you that it is long polypeptide chain. Our hairs are long. Second point I have told you, mark it. It is insoluble in water. Our hairs are insoluble in water. Have you understood? Our hairs are insoluble in water. It is normal, and we can relate and we can learn easily from this example. Okay, so as hairs are insoluble, fibrous protein is insoluble. Hairs are long chains, fibrous protein are long chain. Okay, so fibrous protein are made up of polypeptide chains that are elongated and fibrous in nature or have a sheet-like structure. So these fibers and sheet are mechanically strong and are water insoluble. Okay, so these are often structural protein that provide strength and protection to cells and tissue. Okay, so two coiled chains of tropomyosin are shown in the scene. Okay, so like I have, let me, so these are the two long chains. Okay, so let us assume that these are the two long chains of tropomyosin. So as I am telling you that two long chains of tropomyosin is showing. I am showing that you in seen at the right. Okay, so and the alpha keratins are the fibrous protein involved in the structure of hairs. Okay, example is alpha keratin in fingernails and horns, and their secondary structure is alpha helix with a higher level of structure being the coil. Okay, so fibrous or beta keratin are fibrous protein making up the silk and spider webs, and their secondary structure is beta sheets. Okay, so collagen is an abundant fibrous protein in vertebrate animals found in tendons, cartilage, bone, and it has a unique structure. Okay, next is elastin. Okay, so next example is elastin, and it is an important component of tissue such as ligaments and skin, and is highly elastic. And yeah, its polymeric fibers are made from monomeric units having no secondary structure but having a flexible disordered structure, or the disordered structure permits it to stretch in two dimension. Okay, have you understood the fibrous protein? Okay, this was about fibrous protein. Now let us come to the globular protein. Okay, so globular protein are spherical proteins. These are long chain protein and these are spherical proteins. Okay, and are one of the most common protein types, and these are water soluble also. For example, hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a kind of globular protein and it is water soluble. Okay, these are insoluble, these are water soluble. So, globular proteins are spherical proteins and are one of the common protein types. Okay, so globular proteins are somewhat water soluble. Okay, forming colloids in water. So, unlike the fibrous or membrane proteins, there are multiple fold classes of globular proteins. Since there are many different architectures that can fold into roughly spherical shapes. Okay. So the term globin can refer to specifically to proteins including the globin fold. Okay. So the spherical structure is induced by the protein's tertiary structure. So the molecular's apolar amino acids are bounded toward the molecule's interior, whereas polar amino acids are bound outwards. Okay. So have you understood both the fibrous and globular protein? Okay. So let us read what is written in both of the proteins. Okay, so fibrous protein, we can find these proteins in animals and are insoluble in water. So fibrous proteins have resistance to proteolytic enzymes and are coiled and exist in thread-like structure to form fibers. Example, collagen, actin, myosin, elastin, keratin, claws, feathers. Next is globular protein. Okay, so these proteins, unlike fibrous proteins, are soluble in water and they are made up of polypeptides that are colloid about that are coiled about themselves to form oval or spherical molecules. Okay, so example albumin, insulin, and hormones like oxytocin, and also hemoglobin is also an example of globular protein. So you can have short notes from here. This matter covers everything that I have told you. It's just in a short form. You can screenshot this, it will be helpful to you in your future. Next is on the basis of their constitution. Okay, so on the basis of constitution, the proteins are being divided into simple proteins and conjugated proteins and derived proteins. Okay, so the main are simple and conjugated also. Simple proteins are also known as homoglobular protein. Okay, so they are composed of amino acids only, and some examples are like protamine, histone, albumin, globulin. Okay, so let me give you a short introduction of histone protein. Histone protein is the example of simple protein. So histone proteins are basic but weak base in comparison to protamine. So histone is low molecular weight protein and are water soluble and is not coagulated by heat. Histone is present in nucleic acid as nucleohistone binding with DNA. So next is conjugate or heteroglobular protein. Okay, so these proteins are in which the proteins are always linked by non-protein moiety to become fundamental. Okay, so they are composed of both protein and non-protein components. So the non-protein components is like prosthetic group. Okay, the non-protein group is known as prosthetic. So on the basis of prosthetic group, they are classified as below. Okay, so first is metalloprotein. Metalloprotein. Let us discuss this first. So these are the metal prosthetic group, and some metals like copper, zinc. Okay, so strongly binds with proteins such as collagen, albumin, casein by SS group of side chain, and okay, so combination of proteins and metal ions. Next is chromoprotein. This. So they have colored prosthetic group, example hemoprotein, hemoglobin, myoglobin, chlorophyll, cytochrome, peroxidase, hemosine. Okay, so flavor protein. Okay. Next is phosphoprotein. Okay, so they have phosphate group as prosthetic group. Okay. So example casein in milk. Okay, so milk protein binds with calcium ion to form calcium salt with caseinate. Okay. Next is lipoprotein. Okay, so they have lipid as prosthetic group, example lipovelate, cyclomicrons. Next is glycoprotein. It is the combination of protein and carbohydrates. Okay, that is more than 4%. In this it is less than 4%. Nucleoprotein, combination of protein and nucleic acid. Next is derived protein. Okay, so derived proteins are the derivatives of either simple or complex protein resulting from the action of heat, enzyme and chemicals. Okay, so some artificially produced proteins are included in this group. So they are classified as primary derived proteins and secondary derived proteins. It is of two types. So in primary derived proteins, these proteins are derived, the derived protein in which the size of protein molecules are not altered materially, but only the arrangement is changed. Okay, and the secondary is like the derived protein in which the size of the original protein is being altered. Okay. Next, on the basis of nature of molecule. Okay, so the nature is like acidic and basic. So acidic proteins can be defined as those proteins which moves faster than serum albumin or zone electrophoresis. Okay, so in which and which bind most strongly to the basic ion exchangers used in the protein chromatography, such as DEAE cellulose. Okay, so they exist as anions and contain acidic amino acids. Example, blood group. And next is basic. So they exist as cations and are rich in basic amino acids. Example, lysine and arginine. You can have short notes of these by screenshotting this, and this also I have forgot to erase these markings. Now you can screenshot it. These are very important. These the types of conjugated prosthetic groups. Okay, characterization on the basis of prosthetic group. These types can be asked, and it will be important for MCQ questions. Done, everybody? Okay. Moving next. Functions of proteins. As we all know, proteins are the very important part of our body. Proteins are responsible for our hairs, skins. No, they are needed for the growth, development. Okay, so it is required for our outer, like it is no, it is responsible for hairs, nails, and skin tissue, everything. Okay, so these are the basic building blocks of our body. So the main function that is being characterized is structural function. Okay, so proteins are called building blocks of the body, and they are essential components of various structures in the cells and tissues. Okay, so these are responsible for outer membrane of all cells in human body and are responsible for hair, skin, and muscles. Okay, so they are needed for growth, development, healing, and repair of tissue. Next is protective. So proteins helps our body to for preventing infections. Like proteins are the main constituent of antibodies that protect our body against antigens and pathogens, thus preventing infections. Next, it regulates hormones. It is very common, like hormones are majorly composed of proteins. Okay, so hormones play a vital role in regulating muscles mass, sex hormones, and protein and growth development. Next is enzymes. So proteins are called as biological buffers because they, as enzymes, regulate many different biochemical reactions that occur in body. Protein are the basic building block of our body. All that I have to say. Okay, you can screenshot these. These can be important for theoretical questions. It might be asked to you. Next, nutritional value of protein. Okay, so we get proteins mainly from pulses, plant products, animal products. Okay, so it is the nutritional value of a protein depends upon the quantity of essential amino acid it contains. You can mark it or screenshot this. Okay, so the animal products like chicken, beef, fish have the most abundant protein quantity. Okay, have all the essential amino acids are known as complete protein. Mark it. Which products are known as complete protein? So the answer is animal products. Okay, so next is soy products, and pulses also have mainly they contain some of the essential amino acids. Plant products also are okay. So like they lack sometimes protein, like whole grains. These are like no, they are rich in carbohydrates rather than protein. So they are generally known as incomplete proteins. They contain very less amount of or no zero amount or very less amount of protein. Next, so it is an important question for our general knowledge. Is very high amount of protein diets are dangerous for us? Is very high amount of protein diets are dangerous for us? Okay, so very high protein intakes between 200 to 400 gram per day. Okay, so this is more than 5 times the amount recommended. Okay, so the protein recommendation in the guideline provides enough protein to build and repair muscles. Okay, so a very high protein diet can cause strain the kidney and liver. It is not good to take very high protein intake. So the very high protein diet can strain the kidneys and liver. It is also prompt excessive loss of mineral calcium, which is which can increase your risk of osteoporosis. It is not good to take very high protein diet. It will strain our kidney and liver, and it will no. It will enhance the chances of loss of minerals and calciums, which then increase the risk of osteoporosis. If there is less calcium in our bones, it will lead to osteoporosis. Okay, that's all for today, and you can have the notes and the examination paper of many questions and examination papers on our site, that is www.foodtechnetwork.in. Thank you.